And so it's our absolute pleasure to be joined by Robert Halfon MP, who is giving an exclusive interview to Conservative Friends of Education about a 10-minute rule bill that is introduced into Parliament tomorrow called the School and Education Settings, Essential Infrastructure and Opening During Emergencies Bill. Robert, could you give us some insight into summary as to what this bill is all about and why you're bringing it to Parliament tomorrow?
Well, first of all, thank you to the Conservative Friends of Education Society. You do incredible work to promote education in the Conservative Party, and I was really honoured to be a guest at your jam-packed fringe meeting at the party conference. But I'm introducing this bill today because of what I call a national disaster that affected our young children and pupils, students during the lockdown, where children missed on average 58% of their classroom time, 150 days of school. And we know that children in critical exam years were missing 1 out of every 4 days of their education. And I think we shouldn't have shut the schools fully. I appreciate that they were open for vulnerable children and children of key workers, but we should have kept the schools open even while we locked down the rest of society. And what the bill does is 3 important things. It makes sure that schools are treated as part of the national infrastructure, just as national power. It says that schools cannot be closed unless the Children's Commissioner agrees. It says that Parliament should make a decision as to whether schools close or not, separate from general lockdown restrictions. And it says that Parliament should return every 3 weeks to confirm that decision. If, for example, it decided schools should close, it should come back 3 weeks later. And I'm very proud that this bill is being backed by the current Children's Commissioner, Rachel de Souza, has given strong support. The former Children's Commissioner, Anne Longfield, very respected as well, and 2 former Children's Ministers, Tim Lowson and Ed Timpson, as well as the former Conservative Party leader, Ian Duncan-Smith MP.
Ian, you've got Ian Duncan-Smith supporting it as a former leader of the Conservative Party. Have you got cross-party support as well for the bill, Robert?
We've got, I'm very pleased, we've got support from the Liberal Democrats. Obviously, I'm only allowed about 11 names on the bill. So I've chosen people who were passionate about education and passionate about keeping schools open and argued for it constantly whilst Parliament was over in Parliament over the past year. And I should also give a special thank you to the Us For Them parents group. Like Conservative Friends of Education, they are a campaigning force and campaign day and night to try and keep our schools open and get our kids back into school. And they have been a force in the media, and I'm very grateful for their strong support for my bill.
Robert, is there a risk that this bill could potentially make local authorities slightly hamstrung in their ability to quickly respond to an outbreak or an explosion of cases?
I don't think that will be the case, because what the bill does, it gives power to the Children's Commissioner to say whether or not schools should open or not. The Children's Commissioner will be informed properly about this. It also says Parliament must make that ultimate decision. Of course, there may be extenuating circumstances, but the principle is very clear. In terms of general school closures, it is the Children's Commissioner and Parliament that makes the decision.
Yeah, so at present, schools are classed as essential infrastructure, but that expires in March 2022. Is that correct?
Well, at present, schools are classed as national infrastructure, but not in the same way as national power or food supplies. And what I'm arguing in the bill is that they are treated in the same way as essential national infrastructure. So that's why there have to be special measures taken before schools are closed.
Okay, yeah. So, and from our perspective as the Conservative Friends of Education, this is something that we really back and we really support. Myself, as a current practicing school leader, this is something that I think is really important, and I certainly offer my wholehearted support behind the bill. I think it's absolutely vital, as we say, to give students the opportunity to get back and recover that lost learning. What time is it being introduced into Parliament tomorrow, Robert?
Well, subject to the whether or not there are what's called urgent questions or statements from the government, there's Prime Minister's questions at 12:30. It should start straight after Prime Minister's questions. If there is an urgent question or statement, the 10-minute rule bill will come after those statements. So I'm hoping that it will be around 12:30, but of course it depends on whether or not the speaker decides if there are any other statements or urgent questions.
Oh, brilliant. Well, absolutely best of luck, Robert. And thank you so much for your time today. I know you're back to back talking to various people to try and help get this bill over the line. What do you think your chances of success are? Have you got any insight as to that so far?
Well, I'm introducing the bill to Parliament tomorrow. It's a way of highlighting an issue. I'm going to raise it with the Secretary of State as well in committee. He's appearing before my committee tomorrow morning, in fact. So what I want to do is bring this issue on the agenda. And my key aim really is to make sure that if we're ever in another national lockdown again, the one thing they keep open are the schools. I think the children deserve it, the teachers and staff deserve it, and I should give a huge thank you to the teachers and support staff who've done everything possible to look after children and try and keep them learning. But the parents and the children, the families want the kids in school. They want them learning again. It's done so much damage. I've described it as the 4 horsemen of the education apocalypse galloping towards our children in terms of lost learning, mental health problems, a lifetime chances and safeguarding hazards. We need to make sure that we turn those 4 horsemen away and keep our schools fully open again.
Just for a final question, Robert, have you had any conversations with any of the teaching unions and just wondered if they've had any thoughts on this?
I haven't had conversations with the teaching unions. I suspect there'll be mixed views in terms of this bill. Some of the teaching unions are more constructive than others, but no doubt they'll be watching Parliament closely tomorrow.
Yeah, well, best of luck, Robert, and certainly to the other MPs, the other 11 MPs who've backed this with you. Good luck, and thank you for continually trying to put our young people at the forefront of everything that this Parliament and this government does. I think we really appreciate your influence and your efforts as chair of the Education Select Committee.
And it's nice to see that one of the senior officers of the Conservative Friends of Education, to see that wonderful picture of Margaret Thatcher on the windowsill.
Absolutely, and what you can't quite see, there's one of her. It's a quote behind it as well. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. From this is
great. Well, I have Teddy Roosevelt's "The Man in the Arena" on my wall in the House of Commons. Okay, good luck everybody, and thank you to the Conservative Friends of Education Society.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Cheers. Bye.